Good morning, good morning, good morning. You know what today is? Monday morning chats with Sack, and Sack is me. I'm Sakina. This is my first time going live on YouTube. Usually when I do these Monday morning chats with Sack segments, I'm usually on Instagram, but there's some issues where it's hard for me to like save my video on Instagram and then upload those to YouTube. So now I'm just gonna stick to YouTube. So I'll see how this goes, and I hope that you guys are able to join me every Monday morning, where I just talk about different things. For those that are new to my channel, my name is Sakina Tillman. I am not a therapist. I am a licensed attorney and I am a law school professor. I'm just really big on wellness and making sure you are showing up as your authentic self. I read a lot of Brene Brown. I'm actually reading this book, The Atlas of the Heart. Prior to this book, I've read The Gifts of Imperfections by Brene Brown. And I also listened to her podcast. And I can honestly say that I started her work in January this year, and it's been extremely transformative. And I highly recommend this work. If you're on this journey of self-discovery, or you know who you are and you're trying to learn more about who you are so you can show up as yourself and being able to understand others, I highly recommend that you read her work. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. So when I get on here, most times I'm not dressed up. Maybe I should, I don't know, but this is just me just showing up as me, no makeup, just none of those things. And this is me before I get a chance to really start my day. So I just wanted to talk about boundaries, right? What are boundaries and why it's so important to have them? And I'll share a story. So I'm going to read about boundaries from The Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. Boundaries are a prerequisite for compassion and empathy. We can't connect with someone else unless we're clear about where we end and they begin. If there's no autonomy between people, then there's no compassion or empathy, just enmeshment. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. That's what boundaries mean. And I try to figure, okay, yeah, I can love me and love you at the same time. There's some type of distance. But what's another definition? And so there's another definition where it's actually in this book. And the definition is what is okay and what is not okay. Those are boundaries. But the question is, are you sticking to them? I'm at a point in my life where, like, I know exactly what I want. And I receive mostly of what I pray for. But the things that I want, I'm very clear on those. And when I think about the things that I want in my life, I also ask myself, okay, what is it that I'm cool with, right? What is something that I'm absolutely okay with, right? Because a lot of times when people talk about boundaries, sometimes they talk about, oh, I don't want this, I don't want this. But what is it that you actually like? What is something that is okay? And sometimes it's good to really talk about, okay, what is it that I don't like? Actually write those things down. What is it that's okay for me? What is not okay? And being okay with that. Because I really think that when we're able to have boundaries, that just shows us that we love ourselves. We love ourselves wholeheartedly. I'll give you a story. I met someone a while ago and everything was great. Just amazing. And I realized that, hey, in order for me to connect with someone, it's important to really pay attention to everything they do, but everything that they say, and see if their words are aligned, right? I pay attention to the conversations that we have, and I'm very intentional about the questions. So I'm not trying to make this as an interview, but I had to be mindful of, okay, depending on what this person, how this person answers, I have to ask myself, am I okay with this? And if I am not, that is a conversation that needs to be had, right? There's a conversation that needs to be had. And as we were conversing, I realized that there was something that was said that I realized that, hey, I don't like this, right? And I was firm on that. Like, hey, this is just not okay. It's not okay. And I felt for me, it was so liberating for me to be able to thoroughly communicate, hey, this is not for me, and being okay. And I think sometimes that we can settle and be around things or be with people that does things for us when we know that it's not okay, and we focus on the things that are okay. And let me tell you that that is another way to disaster, because now you're so focused on all the things that you're okay with, but the things that are not okay, they scream at you. They're so loud, and it can just cause dysfunction, right? It can cause dysfunction. And I've been there, right? I've been there before. And I asked myself, well, why would I stay, or why would I be around people knowing that they do things that I know that's absolutely not okay with me? And then I thought about it. It was fear, right? For me, it was fear of, if this is like a really good friend, what if I lose this friendship, right? Because they do everything else well. But what if I lose this friendship, and I really like this friendship? I really admire this friendship. I want this friendship to work. Or what if it's a relationship where I realize that they're doing stuff that I am absolutely not okay with, but I'm staying because, maybe there's fear that I may not be able to find someone like this. So I just really stay focused on the good things and the bad things. Even though they scream at me, I look to the other way and say, you know what? I can deal with this. And then one day I got tired of my own crap, my own stuff, and said that, hey, the things that I'm not okay with, I am not okay with that. And that's okay to be that way. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to say, hey, I can't accept this. I'm a woman of faith. I am a Christian. And so I will pray about these things. And God, I know that when I have boundaries, there may be people that I may not be connected to. And that may feel weird to me, right? That may feel weird. Am I ready to let them go? Am I ready to let them go? And then I thought about it and said, how much do I love me? Right? How much do I love me? Do I love me enough saying that, hey, everything that I pray for and the people that I pray that God brings in my life, they will do things that's okay. And I'm not going to have to worry about the things that are not okay, because they don't do that. They meet all my needs and my wants. The question is, how faithful am I? And so I had a conversation with God, like, hey, having these boundaries mean that, hey, some people, I may not be in contact with people. But then I realized, like, hey, if I lack boundaries, how much do I love myself, right? I don't want people to walk over me. I don't want to have unhealthy connections with people. So yeah, there needs to be some boundaries in place. No, you can't do this. No, you can do that. Hey, but this is what you can do. This is what I like. And it's being okay. Everyone has their own way of how they look at boundaries. Some have them, some don't. Some things that may not be okay with me may be okay with someone else. And I had to share that with someone, like, hey, what you are telling me is just not okay for me, and I just can't accept it. But what felt powerful is that this person tried to convince me to see things from their perspective. And I did. I tried to be understanding, but they tried to convince me that I should still move forward with them. And I said, no, that's not what I want. And that's just not okay, right? That's just not okay. And sometimes, when you say no to things and you say, hey, that's just not okay, sometimes you may come across people that say, why, right? You'll have someone. But it's more than being just connected with someone. It's about being connected to the right people, right? And the right people will respect your boundaries, right? They will respect your boundaries. So the question is, what are your boundaries, right? It's one thing to say it, but are you enforcing them, right? Are you enforcing them? Are you bending it for certain people? Or are you enforcing it across the board? What is it, right? And if you're not enforcing it, why? And then a follow-up question is, how much do you love yourself, right? How much do you really love yourself for you not to enforce your boundaries and stick to them, right? And really stick to these boundaries. It's not easy, right? Sometimes it could take someone years to figure out what's okay and what's not okay, because maybe for years they're so used to just dealing with it, and you realize, no. I had a conversation with I'm in a group chat. They're considered like my law school besties, and I share with them about a friendship that I had in law school, and then just pretty much haven't talked to this person probably about 3 years. And they were like, if you really think the friendship is worth it, then you should pray about it and reach out, because life is too short. 2 people told me this. And I prayed about it yesterday. I was thinking about it, and I thought about it this morning. And I talked to my therapist about it, and I was like, am I okay with this? Did I like the way this person treated me? And I said, you know what? That's not a friend that I want. I'm cordial, but it's not a friend that I want. The qualities that I have in friends, they all the same. They just have different faces. And I'm at a point in my life where my friendship, they always matter, but they matter even more because I am aware of who I am. And I'm aware and know that I just can't be connected to anyone, right? That's having boundaries. Like, hey, I'm not okay with that. Also, boundaries also saying no. And being okay with saying no. You don't have to say yes to everything. Like, you don't have to say yes to everything. And sticking to that. Like, no, I can't do this. No, I can't help you. No, I can't do this. Because sometimes some people know it's also an act of saying that you love yourself, right? Because you don't want to overextend yourself, right? You don't want to overextend. What else do I have for boundaries? I read this that I think it's like really I'll say this. You have to read the gifts are imperfections, a really good book. But it's this idea that when we start setting boundaries, we also are holding people accountable for their behavior. Because you say, hey, no, I can't tolerate that. You're saying, hey, I'm holding you accountable. I'm not going to accept that, right? I'm not going to accept it. Just not going to accept them being okay. But I'm going to read this. Too often we forget about what is okay part. And that leads to unnecessary disconnection. When people set a boundary with us, we can feel that they're denying our right to our thinking and feelings. When we explain up front what's okay, we move the focus to where it belongs. So if you tell people like, hey, this is what's okay, now you're letting them know like their behavior they're doing, maybe that's just not okay with them. So ask yourself, what is your boundary? Are you sticking to it? Why are you not sticking to it? And be okay with that. That's all I have. It's Monday, so I'd like to shout out to all the dope men out there. You are amazing. You are great. You are phenomenal. And just never forget how amazing you are. To everybody else out there that's listening, you are great. You're awesome. Please don't forget how awesome you really are. And that's all I have for today. Have a great Monday. Have a great, fantastic remainder of the week. Take care, guys.